place for us to survive and thrive. This afternoon, we are going to be talking about wellness in the workspace, and we are doing so as a part of a new initiative highlighting public service wellness and well-being. So to help me have that conversation this afternoon, I have four very lovely people. All of them are workers within the public service, and they're here to talk about different things. I also have a first timer, and my listeners know that I absolutely love new blood. I love new voices, new ideas. So I'll start by introducing her, Genevieve Mead. She is our very new physical therapist at the Glendon Hospital. I also have with me right next to her Mr. Lester Ryan, and he is the Community Mental Health Officer at Oriole Villa. And seated next to him is Dr. Georgette Scarrett. I think it's safe to say she's earned her frequent flyer miles with us here at Talking House. She's always here speaking on different topics, and she is a district medical officer. And last but not least, I think this is your second time here with me.
It is my second time with you.
Miss Delon Searles, and she's here to talk.
So good afternoon, Penny. Good afternoon to listening public. I am Lester J.D. Ryan, and I am your Community Mental Health Officer within the Ministry of Health and Social Services. And as Penny rightfully said, we're here to discuss how you manage stress and basically wellness in the workplace.
So Mr. Ryan forgot to mention that he's also the chair of our Young Workers Committee of the Civil Service Association, and I assist him with that. I'm a member of that Young Workers Committee board. So he has multiple hats.
Mm-hmm. And so do you. Yes. And where do you work?
Oh, I'm
Miss
sorry.
Searles? Yes.
I'm currently a worker at the General Post Office, but I'm here representing my business, Be Well Today, formerly Undone Wellness.
Okay.
Yes.
And last but not least, our very new guest.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Genevieve Mead, and I'm a physiotherapist at the Glendon Hospital. Today is a very important topic for me because, as you know, physiotherapy, it aids in preventing injuries and helping with pain and also dealing with movement. So I feel like my voice is very important on this topic as well.
Yes, it is. Absolutely very, very, very important. So let's kick off with a brain teaser. Anybody is free to give their input. Why do you think employers and the government at large should be concerned about employee health?
I think our wellness as a whole. You started off with health, but can I speak on wellness?
Oh, sure.
Yes. I think our wellness as a whole, it does contribute to the quality of work that we put out, So if we're coming to work and we're stressed out, we're overwhelmed, and we're in spaces where we can't really focus on what we're doing, output would be at an absolute low.
That's right, because we're the engines who actually
Run
the machine actually.
Absolutely.
So if our well-being is not intact, then your productivity level is going to drop, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
And to add as well, if we're always in pain, especially at work, when we go home, we have a hard time sleeping at night. And if we're not sleeping well, we're not productive during the day. So I feel like that's important as well.
Yes, I agree with these points. And aside from the overall productivity of the workforce, your coworkers and your employees are persons that you see regularly, persons that you form a bond with. So overall, we should be concerned about each other's health and well-being, aside from just being able to produce at work. So if you notice that your coworker or your employer or supervisor is looking unwell and so forth and engaging in unhealthy practices, it would be good for you to encourage this person to get a health check done, try and, engage in healthier practices and lifestyle and so forth. So apart from just being productive for the government, we should all be concerned about each other's health and well-being.
That's very true. And it goes back to this little proverb that we all learned, that we're supposed to be our brother's keeper.
Absolutely.
And that's absolutely very, very, very true. And sometimes you think about it in terms of mental health a lot, if something bad happens, then everybody wonders, well, why didn't anybody do anything about
They
it?
always
But it's
do.
exactly the same for physical wellness as well. When you're encouraged to do it together, you're a lot more successful. So employee productivity comes down to the bottom line, you would
Absolutely.
say. And I think if leaders were to realize that it would also impact things like retention of staff, staff happiness, how they
And their
feel in the
productivity as
job,
well.
Right.
all of that is impacted, even in terms of longevity in the workplace. So you want your workforce to be well and able to perform for, is it 33 years they want us to work for? Health and wellness becomes very, very, very important, and that's one of the key reasons that the employers, government leaders, etc., should be concerned about our health and well-being. So, Dr. Skerritt, I want to zero in on you a little bit. Can you tell us what, if any, health trends you are seeing? You sit in clinic every day, you see patients every single day, 5 days a week. You cover casualty, you are in surgery, etc. So, I think you have a good eye on things when it comes to health trends. So, what are you seeing among working adults here in Montserrat?
Okay, so with our working adults, we are seeing a lot of hypertension, so high blood pressure, and it has been increasing over the years. We also have a lot of young people, so we have persons in their early 20s who are developing these conditions, hypertension, diabetes, and so forth. So we're seeing a rise in that. We're also seeing a lot of obesity. So when we're younger, we're slimmer, smaller, and as time goes by, we're working now, making money, you're buying food more often, driving more. Yes, we drive everywhere. So persons are, putting on a lot of weight, and we're seeing a lot of obesity as well.
So those are, would we say obesity is an NCD, a non-communicable disease?
Yes.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
so non-communicable diseases like hypertension, obesity, and you would say that our job is having a direct impact on that. Like my blood pressure, for example, is my job having a direct impact on increasing blood
So
pressure?
sometimes, yes, for a lot of persons, if they're experiencing a lot of stress or pressures on the job, they're not able to cope well, and then we notice that they're having increases in their blood pressure. So it does impact you. And if you have a job where you're mostly at a desk sitting all day, that impacts you as well. You're not getting much movement time in throughout the day. So those things affect your health.
How do y'all feel diabetes is impacted? Do you think workplace culture guides the food
Absolutely.
that we eat,
Definitely.
what we consume?
Absolutely.
I see a lot of absolutely.
So funny enough, I did a medical for one of our new government recruits recently, and she was lamenting about the lack of healthy choices for breakfast, at the cook shop. So, you get up early and you're trying to get ready and reach for 8 o'clock. So you just say, okay, let me grab something on the way in. But then when you enter the cook shops now, it's a lot of unhealthy choices.
Fried and baked.
Fried. And,
First thing in the morning.
A lot of flour. Everything.
You don't want that in first thing in the morning.
Yeah, so
Because
she mentioned that somebody who recently came on island, that there's not a lot of healthy choices for us.
Especially fruits. You hardly see fruits.
Yes.
I will say this. I've noticed a rise in people making fruit cups more accessible now. I will tell you a couple of people I see that they make fruit cups more accessible now, and shout out to them, because in the mornings that's what you want. You don't want something that's fried or something that's baked, because that's going to make you heavy for the rest of the day.
Right.
You got brain fog. You won't be moving as much. And then also you eat that first thing in the morning, you sit there for 8 hours. Then you're going to pack something else on that at lunch. Probably more carbs or fried food. Then you're sitting on that until 4 o'clock. So this is what piles up. So just like she said, we don't have the healthy choices. We're sitting there for 8 hours. And then the time that we're spending to exercise, let's admit, most of us exercise once or twice a week.
Yes, most people have sedentary lifestyles. Like they don't
Exactly.
exercise. It's just you get in your car, you go to work, you sit down for the whole day, you get back in your car, you drive home.
And that's it. So you
Yeah.
have to make that, okay, if I'm not moving as much, my food choices have to reflect
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
I think it's two things we have to do. We have to create a workplace culture where we are moving more, even in the workplace, and where we are prioritizing healthy meals in the workplace. And I do know, for example, if you have a workplace where everybody gets a sweet treat, if there's a shop nearby and everybody going in
there's
and
always
grabbing a
cake
pastry,
sales.
you're a lot more inclined to do it. So
Yeah.
we need to create these workspaces that are a little bit more balanced and can help us counteract some of the NCDs that we see increasing in our community because our job is where we spend most of our time.
That's
we spend
very
most
true.
of our days at our jobs. So it's very, very important that the workplace has a healthy culture that we can pattern so that, again, we can remain productive for as long as possible in our
Absolutely.
jobs. So how do we do that? How do we prioritize movement during the workday and even our meals, our healthy meals? Any thoughts on that?
I have a few thoughts. I don't know if you guys been seeing something trending called digestive walks. So after you eat your meal, you just take a walk, like, I don't know, around the compound for a good 10 minutes. It helps you to
Yeah.
digest your food better. That's a way that I think that workers can, consider their health.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that one.
So digestive walks, I like that one. I did see recently a doctor on social media talking about jumping, and not big heavy jumps, but if you don't have the capacity to get up and walk around, you can literally just stand after about 15 minutes after you eat and do some like bouncing. I mean,
yeah.
it looks a little bit crazy,
I think it
Walking on
jams
the
the food
spot
down.
as
but
well.
walking on the spot. And what those do is they help your body utilize insulin better for the meal that you just have, so you don't have those big blood sugar spikes. And we know that is what can lead to diabetes over time if you're constantly having those big blood sugar spikes. So
Yeah.
movement helps that. And we also spoke about diet.
Yes.
So create a culture of healthy eating at your desk. How do we do that? What are some practical ways we can do that?
I want to, can I shamelessly plug Miss Flo?
Sure.
So Mass Bob Shop, you can go and you could buy the little packets of nuts, or, she has the dried fruits. I would encourage people, if we're going to snack at our desk, because we always want something to pick at, let it be the dried fruits or let it be the nuts. Let it be something that is not weighing us down. In the mornings, it might be an effort, but try to find those fruit cups. There are people that deliver fruit cups as well. Again, I will send them to you guys. But let's make our meals throughout the day as light as possible so we're not sitting on a lot. By lunchtime, we don't have the itis. We're too tired to do anything. And then we go home, we cook dinner, and then we slump into bed. So the little things, and that's what wellness is. It's the little things, the little practices, the get up and move during the day that adds to the greater whole. We don't wait until we can't do anything about it anymore. And then we're like, well, I am maybe so.
Yeah.
Any tips?
I think we need some accountability as well. So we can help each other throughout the day to bring, healthier foods, your fruits, your vegetables. And if you notice that your colleague has that snack drawer with the chips, the chocolates, and so forth, encourage them to avoid those things, so that we can have accountability partners to help us with our wellness journey.
And a healthier community as well. Less diabetes, less hypertension.
The accountability factor is very, very, very important. Again, when you do things together, it's a whole lot easier.
Absolutely.
So that's a wonderful workplace culture that we can adopt. I think we all want to be healthier. Intrinsically, it's something that we desire. We desire health, and one of the ways that you can get a little bit closer is by creating a workplace culture of wellness. And I love the tips that were given. I love your tips about your meals. Try not to fill your stomach with these very heavy, greasy foods in the morning. That's so important. And get your movement in, digestive walks. I love that idea. That's brilliant. So if y'all see me walking around St. John's Health Center, I'm on a digestive walk. And also, we need to get that culture where we're helping each other. So it's not necessarily shaming or calling out, but
Yes.
hey,
Hold each other
it's
accountable.
water day. We're drinking water today. Something as simple as that.
Yes.
So
I have my water buddy at work. I always tap on the glass and say, time for a water,
There
So-
we go. There we go. Together we can achieve it. So let's take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk about health screenings. And then we are going to jump into avoiding physical injury because that's such an important one.
Absolutely.
So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5 for service and devotion. You would think that I would deserve a fair promotion. Want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me. They let you dream just to watch him shatter. You're just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. In the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in and the tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and you never get the credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you think about it, don't you? It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it. And you spend your life putting money in his wallet. 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you dream about it.
Good afternoon once again, and welcome back to Talking Health. Again, I'm Penny Maloney, and we're having a discussion with a group of public servants, and we are speaking about workplace wellness. I have a physical therapist, a community mental health officer, a medical doctor, as well as a clerical officer who
Slash
takes
yogi.
on additional duties as a wellness advisor, a yogi, etc. So we're talking about health and wellness in the workplace and why it's so very important to your overall health. As a reminder, we spend most of our life at work, and the workplace has to be a healthy space simply by nature of the fact that that's where we spend our time. So it's our personal business. It's also the business of our employers, our government leaders, because that's how you ensure that your workforce is productive. That's how you ensure longevity. That's how you ensure staff retention, etc. So some of the key things that were mentioned is that NCDs is the major burden that's arising out of our jobs. Our jobs are largely, most of us, desk jobs, which means we're sitting for long periods, we aren't walking a lot. And what we're seeing is that we have increasing cases of hypertension, diabetes, and obesity, and very worryingly so among younger persons in our community. Once upon a time, those were things that we got in our 50s and 60s. Now it's not unusual to see a 20-something-year-old with hypertension. It's not unusual at all. So we have to do something about it. We have some really great tips on how we can address it. Let's start creating a workplace culture where we are snacking more healthily. So we're reaching for nuts, fruits where possible. We're prioritizing our water. We're doing it with partners, encouraging whoever sits across from us. Let's do it together. Digestive walks. I love that one. So take a little walk after you have your meal. About 15 to 20 minutes. Just get up, move around, because it will help your body utilize insulin better to burn off that meal that you just ate, and that will help prevent blood sugar spikes and will do your body absolutely good. So I want to talk now about health screening. So as a health professional, we always promote it: get screened, get screened, get screened. But what exactly are people getting screened for? So can you help us, Doc, there by telling us what are the very critical health screens that we should not be missing out on?
Right. So with our screening, we're gonna do our body measurements. So we have your height and weight, your waist circumference, where we measure the distance around the midsection. And with these things, we check our BMI and also the waist to hip ratio Those things give us an indication of our risk of cardiovascular disease and NCDs and so forth, right? So we're going to do our body measurements first. Then you're going to have your blood pressure checked, your blood sugar checked as well. And in some instances, we might have HbA1c screening available. So that one is going to check your average blood sugar levels. We also can do blood tests to check for your cholesterol levels. So hopefully we might be able to do point of care screening for that, like how we do the A1C and the blood sugar checks and so forth. But for now, we would send persons with their lab form to the lab to get those checks done. Yeah. So those are the things that we mostly look out for: your height, your weight, your BMI, waist circumference, waist to hip ratio, and your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your cholesterol.
Can I put you on the spot and ask a question about the BMI? So I have very, very often heard, that BMI is not for us as quote unquote Black people, and that we're big boned. I've also heard the myth of the big bone.
There's no such thing.
So what do you say to people who say the BMI is not for me because, I'm Black and I'm big boned?
Well, if you are not someone who's in favor of the BMI, then you can use the waist to hip ratio, which is less biased or racially influenced. So that one you could use that to check your indication as to how well you're doing or if you have risks that you would need to address.
So how does that one work?
So you would measure your waist area and around the hip, and then it's the ratio of how much it is, and then it will give you an indication.
Okay. So the greater the ratio. So if you have a smaller waist, bigger hips, then that's an indication that you are at less risk of cardiovascular disease, heart disease. That's correct? I said it right?
Yes.
Wait. Confusion's a little bit. Sorry.
Okay, so let's try to
you can do
explain
as
it.
well. So if persons are unfamiliar with it, you can Google it. So everything is on the internet as well. Or you can come into the health centers and you can ask the nurses and the doctors about it.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
I would just
So I know that when you measure, because you're measuring visceral fat around the midsection, yeah? So you do that measurement around the smallest part of your waist, and then you do the measurement around the largest part of your hip. And when you do that, then you divide the waist value over by the hip value, and that will give you a figure.
Okay.
And if that figure is less than 0.8, is it? Less than 1, it's an indicator of good health.
Because I was going to say I'm pear-shaped, girl. What are we going to do?
Yes, so that's an indication of good health.
You pear-shaped too. So, okay.
So persons, as Doc said, you can Google it. Almost everything is on Google. There are actual calculators as well. I know there's one on the NHS. So you can Google waist to hip ratio on the NHS, plug your values in, and it'll tell you what is your risk for heart disease based on those measurements. So for persons who really take issue with the BMI, I know a lot of persons do, you do have that avenue as well.
Gotcha.
So I know that you are fresh in job, Genevieve.
yes, I am.
You've only been here a few weeks, but I do know that you've had some work experience outside of Montserrat. So
Yes.
what are some common workplace-related complaints that a physical
see.
therapist might get? And let's talk about office workers specifically. So those of us who sit at our desks, use a computer for long periods of time.
No problem. Okay, so many of the complaints that I have seen, starting from the head down, would be neck pain and neck stiffness. I see that a lot in office workers. Also, shoulder pain as well. And the most common out of all of these are wrist pain. So pain in the wrists, stiffness in the fingers, and numbness, especially carpal tunnel syndrome. So you're probably wondering what that is. So we have small bones in our hands that kind of look like pebbles. We call them carpal bones, and it creates a tunnel. And in that tunnel, we have a lot of tendons, and we have a specific nerve called the median nerve. Now, when we're at our keyboard and we're typing, our hands are supposed to be in a neutral position. But if you do not have a proper setup at your desk, you tend to bend your hand upright a little bit into flexion. So if your hand is constantly in flexion and you're constantly typing, you tend to overuse your tendons, and your tendons tend to get inflamed. When they get inflamed, they get swollen. When they get swollen, they decrease the space in the carpal tunnel, and then they compress our median nerve. So you tend to have tingling and numbness in the first 3 fingers: the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. So that's the most common complaints. Now, I know if you're hearing this and you know you have this problem, you might be wondering, what can I do to help at this moment? For now, you can actually use something called a wrist brace or wrist splint to keep the wrist in neutral. That way you're not overextending your wrist when typing at your desk.
So for carpal tunnel, the wrist brace, wrist splint, would it be advisable to use it to prevent it from happening?
No, not to prevent it, but to just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Alleviate symptoms.
Right, to alleviate symptoms. Thank you.
So it's only for persons who have the issue
And
at
they want to,
present.
right.
Right. Okay. So carpal tunnel, that's a very, very, very big one.
Can I ask on, are there exercises that you can do beforehand to prevent it?
I won't really say exercises to prevent, but it's more of a proper workstation setup to prevent it, and also taking breaks. I know you have deadlines and things to do and you have to type and finish your stuff, but it's also good to take breaks in between when you're at work.
So taking breaks and make sure that you have
Have a proper
correct
setup.
So correct setup is that your wrist should be
In a neutral position.
neutral, which is kind of straight,
Right.
as opposed to bent down
Yes, or
up.
upwards. Right.
So let's take a look at our workstations, those of us who are at our desk right now, and see if you can make adjustments. And if you are feeling tingling, you mentioned, or numbness,
in the first
you may
3
want
fingers.
to see if you can get a splint that can assist. And of course, if it doesn't resolve over time, you really need to seek some kind of assistance, medical
Right.
support. You go see a doctor about that. So you also mentioned injuries in the neck and shoulders. Is that also related to the workstation setup?
Yes, it is. So basically, we are calling this ergonomics. So in simple terms, ergonomics is how well your workstation is set up to support your body. So if your desk is, say, too low, you tend to shrug your shoulders a bit and you're putting a lot of tension on your shoulders. Now, your shoulder muscles are going to get very tired and they're going to end up being very tense. So that's where the shoulder pain comes in. We also have something called forward head posture as well. So our computer screen, we're supposed to be an eye level with us. So if you find that your computer screen is too high, you would tend to look up and push out your chin. So what you're doing there is you're tucking out your chin, you're rounding your shoulders, and you're putting your neck muscles under strain. In the end, that tends to overwork them, cause little micro tears, and then they become fatigued, and then that leads to just tension and stiffness. So really and truly, your workplace setup is very, very, very important as an office worker, because you can end up having a lot of bad, symptoms or things that you can prevent in the long run. Right.
I think you and we need to talk more about that and how we can promote good workstations in the workplace.
Can I interject on
No
your,
problem.
for the moments when we're at work, a lot of us are like this. I like to remind ourselves, if we can, just like our water reminders, set an alarm on your clock. Ever so often during the day, step away or sit back, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw,
Right.
and remember to breathe. Get up and stretch, round your shoulders, and because over time, like you said, it's going to cause more problems. So if we work these little things into our day, it'll become routine, you know?
Correct.
So what are the long-term consequences? Let's say we haven't been focusing on our workstation at all. We have the pain. We're ignoring the pain. What can happen if we allow these repetitive strain injuries to just continue?
It becomes chronic, so chronic pain, basically. So first it starts off as little aches and pains throughout the day that resolve, and then eventually you realize, but wait, this not resolve. So like months later, like 6 months later or 3 months later, you realize that I have this constant pain and I need medication to relieve it. So the pain ends up being constant. And then that also affects us when we're sleeping as well. And you want your good sleep at night, so
And I think it's fair to say that we also have a pain problem here in Montserrat, and this is just speaking from my capacity as pharmacist, where I used to work in the pharmacy. We see a high number of prescriptions for pain relief. So there may be some correlation there. Of course,
And we
further
end up
studies
issuing a
would
lot of
need to
sick
be
leave.
done to show. But there may be a very big correlation between chronic pain in Montserrat and the job and the workstation setup, etc. So pay attention to your workspace. Pay attention to your height of your computer, eye level. Make sure you aren't tucking your head up to look at your screen. Keep your hands in a neutral position. Get up. Relax your jaw.
Yes.
Relax your jaw, straighten your shoulders, and that can help you during the day. Any other adjustments we can make to improve our physical well-being?
Yes. So when you're sitting at your desk, your feet should be flat on the floor, and your elbows should really be at a 90-degree angle, resting on your desk. And you should also have arm supports as well. That way, you won't tend to shrug your shoulders when you're sitting down.
So arm support. So when we're buying
Types of
chairs,
yeah.
look for chairs with the arm support and try
And
to
the
keep our
correct height,
feet
too.
feet flat.
And
so how does
also-
that impact females who love high heels
I was gonna.
with keeping your feet flat?
I was about to just come in on that too, because when you're sitting, you also have to make sure that you're not rounding too much or you're not tilting forward too much on your
Yes.
on your pelvic bowl.
Back
So
supports as well.
the back support. So the high heels will come in on that as well. So I'll let you have that one.
So should we be in high heels all day? 8 hours, 8 long hours in the workplace?
I don't really. Well, I don't wear heels because I just feel like they make me feel uncomfortable. But our bodies weren't really built to wear heels.
for
Actually,
They are beautiful, but keep it reasonable.
If you do wear heels, it doesn't matter how high the heels are. You can always find them with proper support. You might want those
Arch
little
support.
stilettos, but you need that arch support. So even if you have to buy it separately and put it into your shoes, make sure you have that arch support because
Definitely.
that's what's going to help you in the long run.
Because it impacts your posture, it impacts your hips, the back, etc. Or you can choose to do like me and keep it low.
Every
Keep it
single
low, but
thing that-
whatever makes you comfortable.
Yes.
And I do know that there are also some concerns with the very flat shoes. That's also a concern. Make sure
Arch
that you
support.
have correct padding inside the shoe, because another common complaint that I sometimes hear is that the soles are hurting. Yeah.
yes.
And sometimes the shoes are too flat, and when you walk, it's like you're getting shocked through your feet. There's no
Yes.
cushioning. So we also need to focus on that. So make sure you're wearing the correct shoes. Make sure that your workstation is set up correctly. Take those breaks, relax your body, roll your shoulders, stretch if you need to. And maybe I don't know if any government leaders are listening. Maybe we can do a little ergonomic exercise.
Come
where
in and
we
observe
have-
your workstation.
Yes,
Yes.
persons come in, look at the workstations and see how they could improve so that we can improve the well-being of the persons who do the work in those positions. So another day we're going to talk about people who do physical jobs, because we're speaking today about people who sit at the desk, but we also have a large portion of our workforce who spends a lot of time on their feet, or they are in the sun, they are lifting heavy things. So we're not leaving them out. We'll come back and catch them on another day. So we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, I'm going to speak to the gentleman who's been sitting quietly and nodding his head in agreement, but not saying much. So he's going to tell us about dealing with stress. And then we are going to hear a lot about yoga and the importance of it to our health and well-being, and how it can even help counteract some of these problems that we are having. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back shortly.
Lazy body. We love the people them can't work. We can't do the lazy body people them. Watch out. Everybody must work. I don't like that. Work. Everybody must work. Young or old. Work harder. Everybody must work. White or black. Everybody must work. Work hard. Watch this. Cause if you're not working, you gotta be loafing. And if you're not loafing, then brother, you gotta be joking. You must work. I'm a lie. And don't be a jerk. Everybody must work. Work Everybody must work. Hey, don't be a jerk. Everybody must work. Work hard. You ain't got to have some ambition. Keep your spirit alive. Don't go making excuses. Just get out there and try. Everybody must work. Well. Everybody must work. Work hard. Watch this. No man gonna walk out. Barilla come. No man gonna airport. But them friend a come. Bring that, bring this, bring something. All they want is easy living. You must work. No, it not gonna work on me, brain. Don't be a jerk. Everybody must work. Work hard. Work for what you want. Everybody must work. Work. Young or old. Everybody must work. Nice and live and just give me the good time. Money isn't religion. You won't get it for free. And I like that. Crime is not the solution. Open your eyes and see. Everybody must work. Work. Jamaica must. Everybody must work. Canada and England. The whole world. Working is a thing that you should love. Working is a thing that everyone should love. Everybody must work. Work. Everybody must work. Work harder. Why? Lazy body not gonna work. Man and woman better try and do some work. Lazy body not gonna work. Man and woman better try and do some work. You are some man and woman them don't want to work. Sit pan corner and act like a jerk. She a whip on a frock, aim and wait for that shirt. And in the ear if you love to work. Listen, chicks, they get your money's worth. Married and live.
Welcome back to Talking Health. We are wrapping up our discussion here about workplace wellness. We spoke a lot about the importance of your workstation setup in the last segment, and I want to encourage persons either today before you go home or in the morning when you get in, try to make sure that do a little evaluation and try to make sure that your workstation is as ergonomic as it should be. So that means that you are making sure that your keyboard is at a level where when you type, your hands are neither flexed up or down. You want it in a very neutral position. You want your elbows to be supported on handles of your chairs. So if you don't have a chair with a handle, please campaign for one. It's very, very important. You also want your computer screen to be at eye level, and so you don't have to tilt your head up or even down to look at your screen. Your feet flat on the floor. Ladies with the high heels, make sure that you have correct arch support. And those with the very flat shoes, it's also very important that you have some cushioning, some support in their insoles, because that again helps with injuries to the body. We're trying to avoid pain in the hips, the back, the shoulders, and carpal tunnel, which seems to be a very big one. So that's a condition of the hands. You get numbness and tingling in 3 fingers. The first three fingers. If you are feeling that pain, it's a good idea for you to get a brace and use it for some time, see if it resolves. And if it doesn't, you do definitely want to get that checked out with a doctor. I do know persons who've had to have surgery to relieve the nerves in the carpal tunnel so that they're able to function normally. And that's just one of the key ways that your job can impact your health. And we don't think about it. We go to work every day, we do it.
Yeah.
Because we need to have that salary, but we also need to try to protect our own selves from injury. So please conduct that little evaluation of your workspace and make yourself as comfortable as you can be. So the last topic that I need to talk about when it comes to workplace wellness is stress. And dare I say, stress is unavoidable. Mm-hmm. Yes, we get stressed in every aspect of our life. But stress can be good. Stress is the thing that propels us to meet deadlines, propels us to take action in difficult circumstances, etc. But prolonged stress becomes bad, and it can definitely damage us. So, Mr. Lester Ryan, this is your area of expertise. How significant do you think workplace stress is in today's workforce?
Okay, so stress, what is stress? Basically, stress is the body's it's the body's response to a situation. And as you rightfully said, it can be either acute or it can be chronic. So acute is basically something as simple as excessively thinking about what you're going to cook later. or and then when it's chronic now, it's something that's more long term, and then it can sometimes end up into you having anxiety disorder and other mental distresses. It is significant. I was trying to find some statistics on the Caribbean, but when it comes to mental health in the Caribbean, it's very difficult.
Submit.
Yeah, so I found something on Jamaica where they're saying that 70% of the medical professionals, the doctors, were experiencing some form of emotional distress. And then they say over in the Caribbean overall, it was up I think about nearly 90%. So it shows that we are all experiencing some form of mental distress in the workplace. So it is very prevalent, and I'm sure if you go around this table here and you ask, we're all gonna say we are experiencing some form of or some level of stress. So it is very prevalent, and it is something that we have to look towards alleviating as seniors in the departments, and even us as workers as well in departments.
So how can stress affect job performance? Because I mentioned, it's the thing that propels us to meet those deadlines and to do what we need to do in the workspace. But there's a flip side of it where it can have a negative effect on job performance. So how does that happen? And as well as our interpersonal relationships at work, how does stress impact that?
Well, actually, as you said, some persons, they actually perform better under stress. I am not one such person. So, some people, they would like to wait until it's close to the deadline for them to complete tasks. And I like to prepare from way before. And on the final day, not even on the final day before, I would like to just go through it one more time. But it all depends on how you manage your stress. You have to find comfortable ways of maintaining stress. Because as you said rightfully, it happens to everyone. I try my best not to let anything stress me because I know how I tend to behave. But yeah, you have to find coping mechanisms that you can use to alleviate stress. What else you asked again?
How does it impact our
Oh,
relationships
it
at
impacts.
work?
Yeah,
So let's say I'm in a very high stress environment. How would that impact my interpersonal relationship with my coworkers?
Well, with your coworkers, you're gonna be agitated a lot. You're gonna be angry, sometimes. Some people will tell you, "Oh, leave your stress at home." But sometimes you can be stressed at home, and then other times you can be stressed at the workplace. You probably cannot get through something. You're probably doing a document and you're unable to get it done. And sometimes you feel a bit shame, or you just don't want to ask someone for assistance when we should all be our brother's keeper, as you rightfully said earlier. And that would actually alleviate some of the stress that can occur. So once we practice these things, it can actually help us a lot, because you're gonna see reducing your productivity. Your work is not gonna be how it once was. You can just look at the person's face, their demeanor changes. The body language. Also, the things you're gonna recognize as the coworker, and because no matter how you try, you're gonna be doing the same thing every day. All of us, you're gonna wake up, you go to work, you do the same thing. When you go to work, you're gonna do the same thing from 8 to 4. Yeah, you might change something a bit, but your coworker can tell something is off with this individual. And if you realize that something is off, it's good to just pull them aside, have a little conversation with them. Well, for me, I like to run jokes. I would run a joke, and if that person does not react like how they normally do, I realize something is wrong. And then you try to delve a bit deeper. But it's important to know your coworkers.
Yeah.
So what are some practical tips? And maybe you can give us tips from two sides. So me as the worker, what are some practical tips I can have in my daily life to reduce my stress at work? And then let's say I have a coworker who I can see is not handling stress well. What are some practical tips you can give me to help that coworker?
Okay, well, it's very important to set boundaries. Do not overwhelm yourself. Sometimes we tend to think that we're Superman and Superwoman, but you're not. And if you die because of stress or other related things, all you're gonna get is a wreath probably. So you just have to remember it is just your job, and you just need to do what you can, and what you can control, you control, and then you leave the rest. Some tips you can do is some techniques. A lot of people would listen to music, You listen to soothing music that would actually relax your body and your mind. You can, like I said, set boundaries. You can practice techniques such as the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch. Basically you're gonna engage your senses.
Grounding.
Your 5 different senses. You can also, what else you can do? Music. Like my colleague here said, you take some walk. Take 10 to 15 minutes break. Get out of the environment for a bit. Just go for a walk, and that would actually help as well. As the supervisor, you have to be understanding. You must be understanding. I realize it's not so prevalent here, but when I was working in the UK, I won't lie, my supervisors, they were very understanding, and they did a lot of activities with us that help us feel a part of the workforce. Not like you're just working, but you're part of
team building
the decision making and everything. Yeah, so we have to do a lot more of them kind of things, and know your workers. Know your workers. You're the one who did the interviews with them, and you're the one that's around them for, let's say, 8 hours of the day. So you have to know your worker, know when he or she is not well, and try to attack it as early as possible. That's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah. And I know one of the key things that we can do to handle stress in the workplace is to put our bodies under some form of physical stress outside of work hours. Exercise,
She
And
said one pain cancels out the other.
it really actually does. So that's exactly how it works. When you engage in physical activity, exercise, you're putting your body under physical stress, which then relieves the emotional burden or stresses that you do have. And I am a firm advocate of that. So
Yes.
on your personal time, find some type of physical activity that you enjoy doing and do it. Walk, dance, swim, go to the gym, garden, or do yoga.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have a big day coming up on, is it Saturday? So
Yes,
this is an
ma'am.
opportunity for us to relieve some stress. This is an opportunity for us
Absolutely.
to practice physical wellness in terms of
Yes.
relaxing our muscles, our neck muscles, our wrists, tendons, and
Relaxing our
everything
brains,
else,
too.
our brains. So
Absolutely.
can you tell us about this, Delon?
Okay, so Saturday, June 20th at 8 a.m. at Marine Village Summer Breeze Lawn. I want to plug that before I miss it. And people say I didn't say the location because we changed location recently because we've been having an overwhelming response. But Saturday is Vibe and Flow. It's to commemorate International Yoga Day, which is celebrated on the 21st, which would be the Sunday. But because I remember that everybody likes church on Sunday morning, we kept it on Saturday. Now, it will be a free meetup. It will be for beginners. If you have never done yoga before, if you don't even know what yoga is, just show up. We have space for you. We have food. We have goodies. But I want people to understand that just like every single part of this discussion this afternoon, it all plays into our wellness, our physical, our mental, everything plays into our wellness. And if all of these things aren't working in tandem with each other, then something's falling short somewhere and we have to pick up the slack. Our workspaces, it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful, but those boundaries that we set, they'll carry us in through the day. The exercises that we do, the healthy meals that we eat, all of that comes together to prevent brain fog. It helps aid in creativity. Movement aids in creativity. The little things that we do make up the whole for our health. And the sooner we start doing them, the better it is. Because we won't get to those places where we're stiff and we're like, I don't know how I got here. We do know how we got here, neglecting the little signs that our bodies show us. And then we get to a point where it's like, oh, I can't fix it anymore. So let's make wellness our practice. So our slogan for Be Well, we were undone wellness before when we were figuring out our wellness. But now wellness is eating, moving, and living. So all of those combine to be well, right? So we don't neglect any part of it. Remember, Saturday morning, 8 a.m. on the lawn at Benny's. Come, it is free. Try something different. Relax your mind and start your weekend in an easy way that will propel into your work week.
So 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, guys,
Yes.
you have a wonderful opportunity to put into practice some of the things that you learned here this afternoon. De-stress, As I said, yoga is great for your physical health. It seems
Yes.
easy when you see people do it, but you realize that
Penny,
you
you're a
put your
yogi
body
too.
under a little bit of tension by doing it.
Yes.
It helps stretch muscles that are tense and need to be stretched.
Some muscles we
Your
didn't even
back,
know we had.
It's very, very important. We spoke about back pain and hip pain and shoulder pain. Yoga can help with all of that. And most of all, yoga helps de-stress the bodies. It's one of the things that is so proven that doctors sometimes actually prescribe it. You know,
Yes.
go practice some yoga.
Can we
and it
practice
will
yoga
help.
for 1 second before we get off the radio? Wherever you are right now, and everybody in here, can we just put our hands in our laps? Wherever you are, put your hands in your lap, put your feet flat, and I want you to release your jaw, drop your shoulder, breathe in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Again, don't rush it. And that is the first form of yoga.
There we go. So we
Starting
had
with your breath, okay? So if you think it's too hard, you start
30
with breathing.
seconds of yoga right there. And I encourage you to come on out on Saturday morning. We're gathering at 8 a.m. right outside Summer Breeze or Benny's. And you can get your taste of what yoga is. And it's beginner friendly.
Yes.
Everybody is welcome. Male, female, 30, 35,
80.
70, whatever. You are absolutely welcome to join. And I promise you, you won't regret it because it's doing something good for your body. And let it really kick off, not just a weekend of wellness, but a lifestyle. Every
Sidebar.
little that you can do really, really helps.
I forgot to say this. My business is turning 10 years old this year.
Okay,
So I've been
congrats.
practicing and I've been teaching yoga for a decade, but this year I am doing a summer of wellness. So I have 3 events, one in July, one in June, one in July, and one in August. June is Vibe and Flow, the International Yoga Day. July 18th, the first day of the Calabash Festival, we'll be at the Koch doing a photojournalism project called Warren Crossroads. I'll be collaborating with my lens, Naren.
Bob.
Naren Bob. I've been working with him, doing some amazing pictures and storytelling through pictures. And then finally in August, we'll be opening our at-home yoga space.
Awesome.
So it'll be someplace. We're touring through the summer, going across the island, but at the end, we'll be going to our own yoga space where we'll be coming together,
Yes,
to
so
just
the listeners
relax.
can look out
Yes.
for that. So thank you guys for joining me this afternoon. We have reached the end of the program. I always like to ask for one key message that you don't want the listeners to forget. I think it's always important that we sum it up, wrap it in a nice bow. And so we'll start with Genevieve. Just your one thought that you would like the listeners to leave this program with this afternoon.
That movement is important in all aspects of our life.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan?
Okay, so for me, it's just to basically control what you can and leave the rest. Do not let stress take over.
Okay, so I want everybody to remember that we are our brother's keeper. So encourage one another to eat healthy, live healthy, and prioritize your health. Some persons would tell me that they don't have time to come to their checkups because they're working. Nuh-uh. Make time for your health.
Okay. And for me, I want us to know that wellness is our priority. We eat well, move well, live well, and be well.
Yes. Okay. So I don't think I have anything at all to add to what my guests have said this afternoon. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. And I do hope that you were able to not just enjoy this program, but learn from it. And I'll see you again next week for another program.
Are you interested in keeping healthy?